All right, what is up, y'all? So, I got some great information to share with you today. This comes from a really good place because it's inspired by a situation somebody that I care about is going through right now that's having some knee issues and some knee pain and some cartilage degeneration. And at any given point in time, I have several people that I know that are having some knee and or back issues. So, I'd like to share with y'all our updated healing and recovery protocol. And our stance has slightly changed in some things over the years. That's what's so cool about staying connected with us, because we're always updating and being honest about, where our views change on some different things. Um, and you're going to see that a lot of the recommendations that we make here are consistent with the general recommendations that we make anyway. That's what's so great about this way of doing things. It's like it facilitates health in all directions on all levels for the most part. But so I think modern, conventional, orthodox medicine, whatever the heck you want to call that, would generally say that you cannot rebuild cartilage and you can't rebuild tendons and connective tissue. But we know in the ancestral health realm that the body is miraculous. It has healing powers. It has regenerative powers, especially when you you have the right foundation of real food and sleep and functional movement and just all the things that we preach. When given the proper inputs and nutrients in the context of a healthier way of living, you can definitely heal and regenerate cartilage, ligaments, tendons, and connective tissue. Now, some of those things sometimes take a little bit longer than muscle, and that's just the nature of that kind of a tissue. But if you do these things and you put them into practice, then I can almost guarantee that you're going to notice some benefits within weeks and months, depending on what the situation is. We'll talk a little bit about timelines here in a little bit. So in this summary, I'm going to share with you things as it pertains to the nutrients that we need. We're going to make some supplement recommendations. And just to put this out there, for those of you that are anti-supplements, you don't need to be. Okay, supplements, if they're good quality supplements from a good quality company or something that we recommend on Amazon, good quality supplements in the context of a real food way of eating. We're not saying that you're perfect with your real food way of eating, but if you're doing pretty good and you're trying really hard, they're extremely synergistic. You need to look at supplements as very concentrated doses of nutrients that are contained in food that are having a intended benefit and effect. Okay, that's why we call this strategic supplementation. I know that there's people that are just like, they don't like supplements, they don't want to do supplements. I'm here to tell you right now, one of the reasons that I know that I look, feel, and perform so well at my age, at 47, is because, first of all, I adhere to our foundations to a T, and I take a lot of supplements. I really do. And that changes over time depending on what my needs are. So today we're talking about healing and recovery. So back to what I want to share. So in this summary, we're talking about healing and recovery for joints. We're going to talk about nutrients. We're going to talk about avoiding certain inflammatory foods. We're going to talk about physical activity recommendations, and then also we're going to talk about rest. Okay. So the first thing from a nutritional standpoint that we need to be consuming on a regular basis is bone stock, a good quality bone stock, and we need at least a cup a day. Now, this is general recommendations for all human beings because we are trying to mimic eating animals nose to tail. Most of us are not getting the nutrients that come from bone stock in the way that we're eating, and so this is a great biohack for it, but especially if we're looking to improve the health of our joints. You think about what good quality bone stock is. First of all, when I say good quality, I mean that it's made with the right bones. We want knuckle bones that have the cartilage on the end of them that you can see and some of the stringy connective tissue on there, you may see those as soup bones in grocery stores, knuckle bones at butcher shops. Okay, if you're buying a store-bought bone stock, then you just want to vet the company, and we've vetted some companies that we know they make them properly. Chicken carcasses are great, okay, but a good quality bone stock, the reason it's so beneficial is because those bones with the cartilage and tendons and ligaments and connective tissue are simmered in a slow cooker for 24 hours or in an Instant Pot for 4 hours, and when that happens, all that stuff dissolves into the liquid. So then when you consume the liquid, you're getting all that stuff to give your body exactly what it needs to give you strong joints and cartilage and ligaments and tendons and connective tissue. Okay, that's the whole point. You're also getting a lot of minerals from the bones, and a lot of electrolytes. So it's bone stock, bone broth is extremely healing and nourishing. That's why books have been written about it. That's why it's so popular right now, but it's especially important as it pertains to joint health. Okay. So you can make it yourself. I'll share a link. We have a recipe, a video, very easy to do. I think it's very, very cost effective if you do it the way that we recommend. Or you can do some store-bought bone stock options for convenience, or a combination of both. Okay? If you have questions, please let me know. The next crucial thing is consuming collagen on a daily basis. Same idea. We make this general recommendation, but it's especially important when it pertains to joint health. We're trying to mimic eating animals nose to tail to get all the nutritional value out of an animal, and most of us are not eating these things. And so taking some concentrated doses of some good collagen is going to be great. Okay, now, well, first of all, let's talk about what collagen does. Collagen is over 35% of the body's total protein. So if I take 100% of the protein of my body, it's an estimated 35% this collagen matrix base. It is the primary ingredient in your hair and your skin and your nails and your joints. Very healing for the gut. It helps improve the looks and conditions of your skin. You start to get rid of wrinkles over time. It helps to improve or reduce collagen degeneration. So as we get older, aging is a process of wasting away. That's really what it is. So as we get older, we're losing a lot of our capacity. It's harder to hold on to things. And so if I'm taking collagen regularly, then I'm minimizing that collagen degradation. Also, we start to see improvements in joints and joint function. I mean, the wrinkle thing you can see happen within 3 or 4 weeks. The joint function we can see. I notice recovery from workouts almost immediately when I start taking collagen. But then your joints and your back issues and things like that, you'll start to notice improvements within 1 to 3 months. Okay. What else? Stiffness, morning stiffness and things like that. When you start to do the bone stock and collagen combo, again, within a month, maybe sooner, but within a month or so, you'll start to notice morning stiffness improve dramatically. So what I recommend from a collagen standpoint, this is different from our stance years ago. We used to recommend the Great Lakes brand, and I know a lot of people do the Vital Proteins and the Costco black container with the blue writing on it. I can't remember what that is. And those are type 1 collagens, so that means they only come from the skin of animals. What I recommend now is a multi-collagen. Multi-collagens are going to have collagen from different parts of the animal and different sources. So you've got types 1 through 10. Most multi-collagens are going to be a type 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and 10 or something like that. But basically, you're getting some skin collagen, you're getting some trachea collagen, you're getting some eggshell membrane collagen, you're getting marine-based collagen from fish. So it's a varied collagen, and the body can do a lot more with it, right? Much more functional, and you get much better results when you take a multi-collagen. So I sell one through Biotics that those of us that take it, we're addicted to it because it's flavored. You can either do chocolate or vanilla. And it is our hydrolyzed collagen right here, and it is a multi-collagen, and it tastes amazing. A lot of us blend it in our coffee, and then a lot of us will, or I will personally add it to desserts. So when I make my SHT fudge, when I make my banana yolk roll, it adds a really, really great flavor, and you get some collagen with it. There's also one that we recommend on Amazon. There's actually several that we do, and we've gone through different ones over the years. And I'll put a link in the notes to the one that we recommend on Amazon. The benefit of this one is it's non-flavored, which means that you can add it to just about anything. I mean, you could also add it to coffee. You just wouldn't get the flavor. A lot of us add the flavored collagen to coffee because it just gives it like a vanilla or chocolatey flavor. But then if you use this non-flavored one, you can add it to just about anything. So the way that I do it is I add collagen to my coffee, the flavored one. I add a scoop of unflavored collagen to my bone stock when I drink it every day. And I also just sneak this stuff in everywhere that I can. Okay. So those two things, I'm telling you right now, foundational for every human being, but especially if we're talking about joint health. The next thing would be vitamin D3. So we've heard a lot about the benefits of vitamin D3, immune system support. It's almost considered more like a hormone than it is a vitamin. It's very anti-inflammatory, and it's one of the fat-soluble nutrients that in synergy with the other fat-soluble nutrients contributes to healing in the body, okay? I recommend 2,500 to 5,000 IUs per day with a meal because it's fat-soluble. It needs to be taken with a meal so the digestive effort helps you absorb it. So 2,500 to 5,000 IUs. We do have some products that we absolutely love, but I'm going to cover that here in just a second. We also have some that you can get on Amazon through Jarls or something like that, okay? Vitamin K2, synergistic with these other fat-soluble nutrients. K2 is another fat-soluble nutrient, different from K1. K1 is the plant-based source of vitamin K. K2 is the animal version and or the fermented version, okay? So, and it's hard for a lot of people to get the K2 that they need because it's going to be coming from fermented foods like natto and tempeh, and sometimes kimchi, sauerkraut may have a little bit of it, not very much. And then in organ meats, it's going to be a little bit more prevalent than anything else. Sometimes good cheeses like a aged Gouda or something like that. But we always recommend taking K2 because here's what K2 does. K2 is an activator and an orchestrator. So K2, remember we've talked about Dr. Weston A. Price, the dentist that traveled the world looking for these healthy populations to see what made them so healthy. These are primitive populations. And as he assessed their foods and analyzed their nutrient content, he noticed there was this one thing that I don't think it was discovered yet. He called it activator X. And it was this thing that they had to have in the diet when they did, like it did all these miraculous things. It tells the body how to use nutrients and minerals, where to deposit nutrients and minerals. And when this nutrient was lacking, he saw a bunch of things kind of start to devolve, you know. So the Weston A. Price Foundation is pretty certain that he was talking about vitamin K2. So he's one of the pioneers with it. So K2, extremely synergistic, okay? And because we're talking about healing, joints, recovery, we're talking about putting minerals in good places. And so K2 is going to help with that. Vitamin C. Now, vitamin C, like everybody knows that vitamin C is great, right? Vitamin C, great for the immune system, but from what we're talking about today, this perspective of healing, it is synergistic with collagen because it helps with the synthesis and utilization of collagen, which is why a lot of collagen products, you'll see a trace amount of vitamin C in there to help with this. Okay, so vitamin C, we recommend 500 milligrams up to 2 grams or 2,000 milligrams per day. Okay, and then EPA and DHA, these are the omega-3s. These are the things that you hear a lot of benefits about, you know, omega-3s, fish, consuming salmon and fish oil and things like that. So EPA and DHA, among many other things, is great for brain health, great for body health. They also support the anti-inflammatory pathways in the body, the prostaglandin pathways in the body. And I'm telling you right now, most of us are probably not getting this in the foods that we eat because we're probably not consuming the kind of fish that we'd be getting this from anyway. So I think as a just in case, I would always recommend taking EPA and DHA, especially when we're talking about joint health because of the anti-inflammatory benefits. All right. Now, this is the way that I recommend doing it. Okay. I always am very self-conscious about coming across like a supplement pusher, but I'm not. I just recommend things that I do and take myself, and I understand the quality issue behind all the stuff. And I've already talked about that a little bit, so I'm not going to go into it too much now. So let me just try to pick up on the things we haven't talked about. So I did the collagen and I did the all right, so one way to get a lot of those things in are my favorite product from Biotics right now, and a lot of my clients are hooked on this, and a lot of our members, is the immune support packs. The immune support packs, Biotics developed during the situation over the past few years, you know, starting in about 2019, and they are just about everything that I would recommend putting into a combo product, even though we're usually not fans of broad spectrum nutrient blends. This is targeted for the immune system, but it's just great in general, okay? It's got a decent dose of the animal version of vitamin A, which is what you want, the absorbable version. It's got 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. It's got 4,000 IUs of vitamin D. So remember I said anywhere from 2,500 to 5,000 IUs of vitamin D3. So it's got 4,000 IUs of D3. It's got a good whopping of zinc. It's got quercetin, which helps you absorb zinc. It's got copper to help balance out the zinc, because if you take a lot of zinc without copper, you can run into some toxicity issues. It's got NAC, or N-acetylcysteine, which is a precursor to glutathione. It's got some other things, some botanicals and things like that that are great for the immune system. So it's got a lot of what we just talked about. So it's got the D3, it's got the vitamin C, and it's great for the immune system in general. But if you want to, if you're not down for getting something like that, you would take 1 pack a day with a meal to absorb the fat-soluble nutrients. Well, first of all, we would recommend taking this because this does not have K2 in it. We'd recommend taking this with our BioK Forte caps, which is a K1 and broad spectrum K2 supplement. Okay, really love that. And then we'd recommend taking something fish oil based. Again, fish oil, if you get it at Costco or something like that, you're doing damage to your body. You want something from a reputable company. So I recommend Biotics has, I'm taking this BioOmega DHA right now. It's a really big dose of DHA, a smaller amount of EPA. We've got a BioOmega 500, which is a good combo. I recommend some virgin cod livers that you can get on Amazon that I'll put some links with this video too. Okay, so taking those together, that's giving you most of what we just talked about. All right. Now, if you wanted to piecemeal that just a little bit, we do have a BioDK caps, which is vitamin D and K2 combined. And so this has, I think it's 5,000 IUs of vitamin D3, and then it's got a broad spectrum K2. And then you could do that with something like our C product, which we have a Bio C Plus 1000, which is 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C with some bioflavonoids. We've got a vitamin C 500. So you could kind of package those two things together, and I would still do something like a fish oil. Or I'll give you the only options I would recommend somewhere else, but some things I'm just not going to get outside of Biotics. I've worked with other therapeutic lines, and I know a lot about the quality of different supplement companies. When I can, I recommend things on Amazon. Okay. All right. So that is that. Now, the final thing from a nutrient standpoint I want to talk about is the power of protein in animal foods. Because again, if we're talking about joint health, then we're talking about healing and nourishing things. And when we start to talk about what supports joint health, which is musculature and strong bones, then we're going to get the majority of the nutrients that we need to do that with animal food. So I want to emphasize the power of protein, okay? Most of us, we're doing a separate protein talk coming up here really soon, but most of us are probably not eating enough protein. I can tell you that right now. When I made a conscious effort to actually figure out how much protein I'm consuming on a daily basis and then increase that over time, I've noticed so many great things happen, okay? And I've always known the power of protein, but then just understanding where I was actually at with things. The recommendation, the holistic foundational functional recommendation for maintaining muscle mass, and I mentioned before, aging is a process of wasting away. The most important thing that we can hold on to as we get older is protein and muscle and strong bones. And when you have strong muscle, you have strong bones. Those go hand in hand. That's how you get strong bones, because they're synergistic with each other. So consuming enough protein, we'd recommend 0.8 grams to 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. So let's say your ideal body weight's 150 pounds, then ideally you're consuming 150 grams of protein in a day. Okay. Now that may seem like a lot to a lot of people. Depending on how you start to weigh things out. I'll give you a reference. Chronometer is an app that we absolutely love that you can put in food and just kind of spot check where you're at with things. A good solid recommendations would be every time you sit down to eat, one of your main meals, where you're eating 2 meals in a day or 3 meals in a day, make sure that meal has at least 30 to 50 grams of protein. All right. So that's going to give you a decent dose, a decent whop. For most people, that's going to be about a quarter pound of meat up to a half a pound of meat plus. Okay. And I think a quarter pound is very doable for most of us. Eggs, I think it's like something like 5 or 6 eggs, right? But you're looking for 30 to 50 grams of protein, because I think as a minimum recommendation for all people, because I don't know anyone that's striving to be under 100 pounds of body weight, I think 100 grams of protein in a day is where you need to be. And so that would mean that both of those 2 meals, if you're doing 2 meals a day, need to be 50 grams, or you can start to supplement. So a lot of us, what we do is we take a really good, clean whey isolate. Now, I love Biotics. It's cold filtered, and 2 scoops of this gives you 20 grams of protein. And so then you would only need like an egg or 2, with the shake. But it's cold filtered, so it has these immunoglobulins intact. I also have a recommendation that I can show you on Amazon, a very clean one. So, and then if you don't do animal proteins, my wife, Arnica, she is on this pea protein isolate from Biotics. It's got a really good amino acid profile. Pea protein isolate is going to be the best plant-based protein that I think is out there. And then also what I've been experimenting with, and some of my clients have too, is just taking essential amino acids. So essential amino acids are what proteins build themselves with, right? When proteins are broken down, they get broken down to amino acids, and the essential amino acids are the things that are necessary for the body to build all the different proteins that it needs to. So the experiment is basically, in addition to eating real food and eating meats and I take a scoop away with my main meals just to increase the protein content of my meals, then I'm also experimenting with taking aminos throughout the day at different points. So the 2 products I'm experimenting with right now, and I've got some clients doing it, we're seeing great results, is Biotics Amino Sport. So it's a really good combination. And then some of you may have heard of this company called Keon. And Keon, I absolutely love them. I've actually talked to the owner, and I think I'm going to get him on our podcast or as an interviewee inside the community, SuperHumans United. But I love this product. So we have a discount code that will give you, if I'm not mistaken, 20% off. I don't know if it's just your first order or indefinitely, but we'll talk more about the benefits of essential aminos and things like that, maybe in our protein talk or something like that. So that's just to plug a few products that can support you, but in general, just making sure that you're eating a decent amount of protein. I think that's more important the older that we get, although the mainstream narrative, the mainstream conventional wisdom message is to eat less meat and eat less protein as you get older. But again, if we can acknowledge that aging is a process of wasting away, the most important thing, in our opinion, and when I say I'm talking about a lot of the leaders in the ancestral and holistic health realm, is to maintain your muscle mass and your bone strength. Okay, so that's the nutrient and nutritional recommendations. Now, talk about avoiding inflammatory foods. I mean, we should be doing this anyway, but this is just another plug for it. Wheat, corn, and soy, period. You know, American wheat. Now, if you have a traditional sourdough made with ancestral ancient grains, you know, einkorn wheat and stuff like that, some ancient rye, I could see that being okay. But most people are not eating traditionally made sourdough bread. Okay, we're talking about American modern wheat in the form of breads and pastas and pastries, corn and soy. Those are the three industrial agricultural products that are the foundation for all processed foods. Okay, and those things, they're, for most people, they're very toxic. And when people remove those things, they notice their joints start to feel better right away. Okay. Now, corn is a gray-ish food. You know, sometimes we're okay with some organic corn, some organic popcorn, some nixtamalized sprouted corn tortillas. But in general, avoiding those three things is going to be extremely beneficial from a joint health perspective. Always avoid the highly processed plant-based oils. I can't harp on that enough. And if you've followed me for any amount of time, a member of our community, you know the power behind avoiding, getting rid of all the corn, the vegetable, soybean oil, canola oil, rapeseed, grapeseed, like all those things that are not traditional fats, because they're extremely inflammatory and they make you they make you unable to burn fat for fuel, which makes you very carb dependent. Okay, and then finally, processed foods in general. Now, I know all of us are not perfect with this stuff all the time, but what we're saying here is the majority of the time, this is what you want to do. All right. So next, let's talk about moving. The first recommendation in the movement piece is going to be going barefoot. Now, how the heck does that help? Well, because when you go barefoot, when you put your shoe or when you put your foot in a thick shoe, you're basically putting your foot in a cast. Okay, your foot is meant to be free, so it can give you signals from your environment. This is all happening at an unconscious level, so it can give you signals from your environment to tell your body how to function, how to operate. Okay, from a movement perspective, it enhances proprioception. It enhances it makes you softer, right? So I had a barefoot workshop not too long ago where we did this exercise. We took off our shoes, we stood on a sidewalk, so some concrete, and I had the members there jump as high as they could with a tuck jump and land, and just pay attention to how they landed. Nobody landed on their heels. Instinctively, intuitively, they landed softly on the balls of their feet. Now, if I'm walking barefoot out on a sidewalk, I'm not walking heel first, or I shouldn't be, because that can be painful. But when we put on these modern shoes with a lot of cushion, your heel is basically seeking stability through the ground. And we're told from the mainstream narrative that, you know, we want that cushion so that it can be better for our knees and things like that. But it actually is worse for the knees, because what's happening is you're seeking some stability through the heel, and you don't feel that huge impact there because you have the cushion. But that jolt, that shock, still goes up your entire body. It doesn't have anywhere else to go. And so a lot of people, when they go barefoot, they start to notice improvements in their back and knees and joint pains, simply because their body is having to be softer. It's more aware, perceptive, proprioceptive. So I would start out very small and simple, just being barefoot around the house and out in the backyard and things till your feet kind of get used to it. And then you can transition into a little bit more minimal of a shoe or something like that. Okay. That's the barefoot thing. What else? Okay, so, and then low impact exercises. So specifically, I'm thinking about like knee joint issues, you know, cycling, swimming, elliptical cardio, incline walking, sled pulling is really, really great. And then resistance training is so powerful. Okay. Resistance training is, again, if we're trying to keep and maintain and increase our muscle mass and our bone strength and density, and if we're trying to strengthen our joints, then resistance training is going to force the body to do that. And so that's exactly what we want to do. We want resistance training, weight-bearing exercises. If you're not sure how to do various movements, you know, we have a great fitness foundations manual. We have a fitness foundations course. We have exercise videos. I've connected with a lot of people that are very well versed in fitness and functional fitness and healing and recovery and things like that. But just emphasizing low impact cardio. Now, I wouldn't recommend too much running, but low impact cardio and then resistance training. And of course, being smart with your knee, talking with your doctor. You know, if you've got something going on, some inflammation, some swelling, and obviously you don't want to go start busting out a bunch of heavy back squats. But you want to get to the point to where you are doing some resistance-based movements that strengthen your legs and your joints and your entire body. I think that's so, so powerful. And then finally, rest and recovery. Okay, so if you've got something hurting, then Look, if you had a sunburn, a really bad sunburn, what's the first thing that you're supposed to do? Get out of the freaking sun. So if you have something that's really hurting you right now, then the first recommendation is lay off of it. A lot of us are diehard exercise fanatics, and it's so hard when we have like a hint of an injury or something that's kind of doesn't feel right, it's a little squeak. It's so hard for us to not work out. But the reality is that's probably the best thing for us to do, or at least not working out that part of your body. Okay. Again, maybe transitioning to low impact, something, just walking and just taking breaks. Okay. You need whatever that thing is to heal. Now, once it's relatively healed, we still want to advocate taking rest. Okay. If you're always working out and always beating yourself up, that's not going to be a great thing. And then also sleep in general is where your body does all of its healing and repairing and regenerating, because during the day, it's all systems go. At night is when the body actually is able to do most of its healing and repair. So that's just a plug for prioritizing sleep. Okay. So I think that's about all we got. All the links and notes and recommendations associated with this will be in the post in our amazing community, Superhumans United. All right. If you're not a part of that and you're listening or watching this, then come check it out. We have a 14-day free trial. It's an amazing place, and it gets better every day, every week, as we get more people in there, and I absolutely love it. It's my little baby. And I think that's it. Questions, comments, concerns, feedback, even snide remarks, send it our way. And as always, y'all, keep it real.